Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you to this daily PIB analysis video. These videos they come in the evening, and the Hindu editorial videos they come in the morning, and the PDF you get on the Telegram channel and on my Facebook group of IAS preparation, as the name is Amit Sani group for IAS preparation. And today is 8th of February. Some data is there. Before that, these are the numbers where you can call and ask for these pen drive courses by StudyIQ, and these all are important and they are covering the static portion of all these examinations, and these are prepared by the selected people, so these are important. Central Water Commission, it is the attached office and it's a premier technical organization of India, and attached office of Ministry of Water only, so this option is correct. And second one, Central Groundwater Authority, it was established by the Environmental Act of 1986, not by Water Act, that's why it is wrong. So the correct answer would be 1. Sorry, this is only 1, correct answer is only 1, and this is wrong. I have marked it wrong. The only 1 is the correct answer. A is the correct answer here. Next, scheme of exploration of coal and lignite. You see, coal has 4 forms: anthracite coal, that is the best coal, and after that bituminous coal, after that the lignite coal, and the peat in the end. So coal and lignite, regarding that we have a central sector scheme. This exploration of coal and lignite is the central sector scheme, and it is running, and the continuation of this particular sector scheme after the 12th plan, which ended by 2017, that is continued. So it is not a new scheme that is announced in this budget, so this option is wrong, and this is again wrong because it is written here that sponsored scheme. It is a central sector scheme where 100% funding is coming from the center, so D, none would be the correct answer here. Next, government e-marketplace, as I told you day before yesterday, it's a state of the art national public procurement platform of Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Government needs a lot of things, a lot of stationery items, a lot of other things, so they have to buy these things from the market. So this government e-market is a new initiative. It was launched in 2015, and here they have made mandatory condition that 25% of the procurement would be from MSME sector, so that this would be boosted. And importantly, this is the e-marketplace. It's the electronic platform where they buy these things, and these sellers are registered here. So it's an important one. And Competition Commission of India, it has the responsibility of maintaining the fair competition in the market. There should not be no cartelization. There should not be any lobbying by these big business giants, and they should not distort the market and pricing. So this fair competition is maintained by Competition Commission of India. It was established by the Competition Commission Act of 2002. So that's important. And government e-marketplace and CCI, they both have signed the memorandum of understanding, so that they can enable a fair and competitive environment in the e-marketplace. That is the future of the markets. Next, Global Fund's 6th replenishment meeting is happening in New Delhi. Global Fund, it was started for the 3 important diseases which are covering huge number of people: TB, HIV and malaria, and mainly the developing and least developed countries. These are the countries mired with these diseases, and many people, they are dying because of TB, malaria and HIV. And you see, in the World Malaria Report of 2018, we recorded a record decline of 24%, and that was a remarkable achievement because many people were dying for the malaria, with the malaria disease, and we started a malaria control program way back in 1953, and now we have shifted it towards ending this particular malaria disease. Elimination is the important focus here. First the focus was controlling, now the elimination of malaria, and we have made a target of 2030 year, and for the TB we have set a target of 2025 year. You see, there is a nexus of TB and HIV because due to human immunodeficiency virus, it's a retrovirus, and because of this the immunity of human beings that comes down, and because of less immunity our body becomes very weak, and in the later stage, after many years, when immunity is so low that the body catches many infections, and mainly the TB infection is the prime one. TB is a disease caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. This is a bacteria, and you see, in half of the population, even in the healthy people, this bacteria is found, and when their body becomes weak, then this bacteria attacks the body, and it's a very smart bacteria. The aspect of evolution is very important with the bacteria of tuberculosis. It is developing resistance very fast against these antibiotic drugs which are given for tuberculosis. And you see now this normal TB, which was cured by these simple streptomycin and other first line drugs, now that is not effective, and this normal TB is converting itself into MDR TB. And mainly it happened because in the countries like India, where people were taking drugs for TB and they left the treatment in between when they felt that we are healthy now, and they did not complete the course, and that's why these bacteria, they developed the resistance against these antibiotics, and that's why this TB is now becoming MDR TB. And mainly these are the country like India, where huge amount of population is there, and a very dense population is there in these cities, and it's a very infectious disease. So that's why the threat is doubled. And people who are living with HIV, PLHIV, this is a specific group, they are most sensitive people towards this TB disease, because most of the HIV positive people, they die because of TB in the later stage, because their immunity is so weak that they catch this disease very easily. So whoever is HIV positive, he is mandatorily checked for TB, and people who are having tuberculosis, they are mandatorily checked for HIV. So this particular nexus is very dangerous, and that's why this global fund, it is working for these important diseases. Okay, and the seed money was given by Bill Melinda Gates Foundation, and now they are raising for the next 3 years $14 billion rupees. $14 billion, not rupees. And for the next 3 years they are going to raise it. So it's the 6th replenishment summit that is going on in Delhi. And you see, they have provided long-lasting insecticidal nets for the threat of malaria, because malaria is a vector-borne disease, and the female Anopheles is the mosquito. And these nets, which we call जो जाली जो लगाते हैं, okay, these are very effective, and these nets are treated with insecticides on their surface, so that these mosquitoes, they are stuck in these nets, and they are dying because of these insecticidal properties. Now in the malaria report, as I told you, we have recorded 24% decline. That is the biggest decline for any country in 1 year. So we are taking strides very fast here, and we are moving towards the elimination of malaria, and the strategy is for 2030, and for TB it is 2025. That's important. Next, Ministry of Commerce and Industries data. Indo-Africa Strategic Economic Cooperation session is going on. We have been focusing on Africa heavily. You see, in the recent Vibrant Gujarat Summit, we dedicated a whole day for the African continent, and the President of South Africa, he was the chief guest this year on the Republic Day. And you see enormous opportunities like mineral wealth and availability of land to grow these crops and all, and a lot of aspirations by African nations. They are the huge opportunities for our government and for our entrepreneurs. So that's why the country of India and China, both, they are keeping their eye and they are keeping their vigil on Africa very heavily. And you see, we started Focus Africa campaign in 2002, and because there are enormous amount of similarities, cultural similarities in India and between India and Africa. And you see, India's duty-free tariff preference scheme for least developed countries launched in 2008. So there also African countries were benefited. Around 34 African countries were benefited, and Indo-Africa Summit also happened 2 years back. So a huge amount of dedication and huge amount of delegation, both we saw in that summit. So bilateral trade has also raised. It was around $7 billion in 2001, and now it has reached to $78 billion in 2014. Just 13 years and a raise of $71 billion. And still they say that untapped trade is amounting to $42 billion So there are huge opportunities, and Africa is in developing stage, whole continent, and they have huge aspirations, and they are learning a lot from the countries like India, and India can be a great role model for Africa. And we have good relations also, cultural relations also, and thousands of years of cooperation is there with Africa. So these things are very, very important. Next, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. The workshop on a global environment facility, which is UNDP's small grants program. You see what if I talk about this global environment facility, it was started after the Earth Summit in 1992 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And you see, this is a financial mechanism for many programs like Stockholm Convention on POP and Minamata Convention, Convention on Biological Diversity, UNCCD Convention on Desertification. So it acts as a financial mechanism for all these important initiatives, and it runs small grants program. And in India also, since 1997 it has been running this small grants program, and they are working in many areas of biodiversity, climate change and desertification, land degradation and agriculture, and climate sensitivity, and all these important programs. These are supported by Global Environment Facility. So UNDP is also important stakeholder, and this small grants program is running for now 27 years, and in India it has been 21 years. So it's a huge period, and there are many stakeholders. Ministry of Environment is actually implementing this small grants program of GEF in India. So ministry is important here. It's working as a nodal and implementing agency, and they have worked a lot in biodiversity conservation, climate change and land degradation, as I told you. Next, regarding the TB elimination, the data is given, as I told you, that we have set a target of 2025 that we will be ending tuberculosis, and that's a highly ambitious goal, because the way we are moving, the way we are taking steps, the fund that we have allocated for this, and the way this disease is being covered by our initiatives, by our programs, then this is nearly impossible a goal, because 2025 is just 6 years away, and this disease is creating havoc in the rapid urbanizing cities of India, where people are living in dense of populations, and because it's a very infectious disease, and as I told you, people living with HIV, they are in a huge number, and many are undetected. And the detection of TB is also a huge issue, because the skin test is not always reliable. So the sputum microscopy and molecular tests, they can only confirm. So very less people are coming for these tests, and very less can afford this, and very less are aware about the government's programs, the revised national TB control program that is going on, and these drugs, you see, these are being given. Now first line drugs are failing because this bacteria is evolving very fast. It has developed resistance, and this antimicrobial resistance is the most crucial problem with tackling of this tuberculosis disease. So that's why this goal is very ambitious, but anyhow we have to achieve it, but we need to move very fast. So the data is given here that the national strategic plan is created for the year 17 to 25 for the TB elimination by 2025. Okay, so I have discussed this issue. Now the issue of junk food. You see, our lifestyles are changing, and we are eating foods like chips, burger, pizzas. These are junk foods. These are really waste foods, because they are high in amounts of sugar and salt. Just two things. Sugar, very bad for the health, and it can create the disease of diabetes in the body, and the salt is responsible for the blood pressure and all related disease. So this junk food is nowhere beneficial for the poor population, and the issue of hidden hunger is becoming prominent because we are eating these kind of foods, the junk food that is never nutritious. Nearly zero fiber is there, and no micronutrients, and high in salt and sugar. So that's totally a waste food to eat. Now the act which was there in 2006, this Food Safety and Standard Act came, and the authority of FSSAI that is working for this quality control and check on these food business operators that is going on, and it is all working according to this particular act, and they brought guidelines, regulating guidelines in 2011 year, and all have to comply with this. And you see the agricultural sector is a growing sector in India, and it's a huge sector in India, although the growth is very slow. But the food processing industries, which are dependent heavily on the agriculture for the raw material, they are very much confident and inspiring. So their growth is very fast, it is recorded very fast. And you see these food processing industries, they need to follow a lot of norms, because India's food processing sector is in a developing stage. It is not like the developed countries of America and other European nations, where many people, most of these people, they are using packaged foods and all, and their quality regulations are very high. So that's why in India these quality checks, they are very crucial, and they are in a developing stage. So that's why we need to comply to all these rules of specifically the FSS Act of 2006, and this body's work, FSSAI's work, is very important. And the corruption issue should never be there, otherwise it can bring havoc to the masses of India. And that's why they are giving details regarding these junk foods, and all the directives are released for that. So these schools and these growing kids, they are the major focus for this movement of the Eat Right India. It was started way back in July 18, and to improve public health, and they are taking care about the demand and supply, both sides. On the demand side, they are giving this awareness to the people of India that don't consume this waste food, junk food. And on the supply side, they are regulating these food business organizations, and they are giving them directions to maintain the food standards and the quality standards regarding these preservatives, food additives and all, because these are very dangerous for the health. Next data is from the eNAM sector, and as we had discussed about it, that new milestones are being achieved now in this year, because the interstate trade is being possible for this e-platform of National Agricultural Market. This eNAM started way back in 2016. It is the most ambitious scheme from the government, because it can solve whole problem of farmers produce and its sale, because the most corrupt places of APMC mandis, agriculture produce market corporations, so these are most corrupt places, and the problem of farmers produce and the less price which is given to these farmers, that is the biggest problem. And this eNAM project that can solve this issue, okay, because they can follow their sale, they can follow their prices, and directly the money is transferred in their bank accounts. So it's totally a digitized platform and a revolutionary platform. So that's why they were adding all these APMC mandis of whole country on this eNAM platform. 585 are already done, and the rest of the mandis are being integrated with this eNAM project. So now, till now, what was happening? Only intra-state, means within the state, these mandis were involved with these trade of these commodities. Now interstate, means between the states, that became possible. And at first, as I told you 2-3 days back, between Bareilly of Uttar Pradesh and Haldwani of Uttarakhand, they sold the crop of tomatoes. So that was the first incidence when this interstate, means between two states, interstate trade was possible on the platform of eNAM. So that was revolutionary. And after that, between the states of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, it became possible. Now between Rajasthan and MP, it is becoming possible, and Rajasthan has become the first state in India which is involved with more than one states for this eNAM platform based interstate trade. Okay, so Rajasthan has become the first state which is involved with more than one states. So that's the example and the data you can see here. And this interstate trade is the major highlight of this year, that is taken as the biggest achievement for this eNAM project. And slowly it is becoming the most important solution for the problem of farms produces. Okay, and you see it started with 21 eNAM mandis of 8 states, and now all the states are joining hands to start this interstate trade on the eNAM project. So this is all for today, and these are the MCQs. Try them, put their answers in the comment section, and the data and the PDF I would upload on this Amit Sani group for IAS preparation and on the Telegram channel of StudyIQ. You must have got that. So thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sani.